Hello, and welcome to Rejected Radio, the voice of the voiceless, whether you like it or not. My name is Morover, and today I am joined by
your guest host, Church of Satan.
And Anabelle, the newly ascended Pharaoh for Osiris.
So today we'll just be starting off on an interview, as this is an interview. So, Satan, would you like to take it away with your first question?
All right, so we're just gonna start at where everything starts, the beginning. When did you join Osiris, and what drew you to the region initially?
So I joined Osiris about 3 or so years ago. I'd actually been in nation states since 2004 on and off, and I do mean on and off. So about 3 years ago, when I decided to be on again, I looked through my new recruitment telegrams. I looked at Osiris's, where I happened to refound at the time. I lurked the forums. It seemed like a pretty good place to be. The community seemed like some really cool people. So I said, look, these are my people. This is my home. I'm going to make it work. And the rest is literally history.
How would you say you've grown, in nation states since then?
I've grown so much in Osiris. I was largely invisible when I first started. I'm a textbook introvert, so strangers and large chats are not my comfort zone. But in the time I've been Osiris, I've been able to come out of my shell and really learn how to be more comfortable talking to people I might not know at first, and to gather new friends and be able to be silly and not worry about looking like a fool. And of course, there's also the government side of things, and being able to only take on as much responsibility as I'm able to, with real life and, this volunteer responsibilities we all take on. So I think that's really how I've been able to grow in Osiris.
And it's kind of odd how a game of all things, like nation states, actually helps us change as as a person. You never see it coming. It just kind of happens.
Yeah, and to briefly go way meta and a lot more social scientist than I think anybody really wants me to, I think this whole live simulation game space that we're in is just amazing, to where we're doing things that we're clearly not doing in our real life, but it's still having a very real effect on us as people. Because, at the end of the day, we're all people behind the avatars and names. So, of course, whatever we're doing is going to have an effect on us. And it's amazing. I think these kinds of things should be able to be on our real life resumes. Leadership qualities are leadership qualities, whether you're in a game in real life. That's how I feel.
So kind of similar to that, what do you think that contribution-wise, what do you think you've helped the region with most before becoming Pharaoh?
For sure. So one of the things I'm most proud of contributing to Osiris is after we changed how our court system works legally, there wasn't a set of procedures to be able to bring forth court cases, to how the trial should work and all of that. And so I thought, hey, maybe that should be a thing. So I basically came up with some procedures that were legally sound according to our Constitution. I made forms and templates, and I basically said, here's all of this. And I didn't actually think anything of it, but it came supremely useful when we had our first couple of court cases. Everything was streamlined. Everything was already there. We didn't have to hash out anything, and it just worked beautifully. So I think that's something I'm immensely proud of.
So do you think that might have contributed to you being appointed to be the next in line to be Pharaoh?
Absolutely. Altino actually started us with, I wouldn't say started, but her main thing was definitely meritocracy, to where the people who are actually doing things and who are consistent and who are reliable are the ones who are being promoted, are the ones who are in government. And I feel like that's why we have an amazing team right now, because we're all very dedicated to making the region great and to making sure we're not slacking off.
And when did you find out that you were going to be Pharaoh?
It was pretty soon. There were a couple of things outside of everybody's control, so we were on a time crunch, so we didn't have the option of a slower sort of apprenticeship-like transition. It was more of, this needs to happen, this is going to happen, it's happening. But luckily, I have some experience in sink or swim situations, and trying to do things on the fly. So it was a very, very short period of time.
And was your initial reaction to finding out more like, I didn't know this was going to happen. There's so little, I don't have enough prep. What's going on? What am I going to do? Or did you just kind of fall right into it?
Yeah, no, there was definitely a moment of sheer panic. Like, I'm not ready yet. But, I think I think that's really a testament to the community of Osiris. Even though I might have felt like I wasn't ready, that I might not have as much knowledge as I feel like I would need, or if I feel like I'm not quite ready yet. There's a lot of experience and people who have been through that in Osiris. Like, I don't know what I would do without, say, Linksy, say, Altino, Rigel, Koth, Ham, all y'all. Shout out. Rach. The list goes on and on. We all, I feel like I have a strong support system behind me to be able to quell the panic.
And a lot of times you just kind of have to go in and see what happens. It's great when it all goes according to plan or whatever.
Yeah, but you know what they say about plans, the best laid plans of mice and men and all that. So yeah, it was definitely panic, and then it was definitely, okay, let's do this. Roll up your sleeves, put on your galoshes. We're moving.
So what are some of your goals as Pharaoh?
So first and foremost is community. We have, and I mean, we have an amazing community in Osiris. There's just so many good people, good players, and again, good people. Like, there's so much fun to just hang around, be able to shoot the breeze and voice chat, be able to play a game, to be silly, and to not have to fear that there's going to be scandal down the road because of such and such and so and so. There's not that sense of drama. So I definitely want to keep that. I definitely want to nurture that. I definitely want to bring more just good people into Osiris.
That's been a long time coming in Osiris too,
Yeah.
because it's gotten so bad over the years, and just trying to get to where Osiris is at now.
There have definitely been growing pains since I've been in Osiris, and I think it's a credit to how the system works and how the pharaohs before have picked the pharaohs after them to kind of continue the torch of bettering and bettering and bettering Osiris. And now look at us.
Is there anything that your predecessor, Ghost Fox, or more commonly known as Linksy, is there anything that they didn't do that you would like to do?
I don't know that I have a answer for this. To me, it's less of, okay, this wasn't done, this wasn't finished, so I'm going to do it. I feel like it's more like a relay race, Linksy had her goals and what she thought was going to better Osiris, and she kind of passed the baton to me, and now I'm going to run and keep going to what I think is going to better Osiris.
And do you think that there's going to be any coming changes with the change of power in Osiris in the next few weeks or months?
I'm actually really bad at speculating. I mean, I didn't speculate this would happen. I hopefully good things, but no one can never tell in this game, to be honest.
Yeah, that's fair.
How long do you plan on serving as Pharaoh optimistically?
Well, I don't have a strict term really in mind. Basically, I'm going to do the best that I can for as long as I can. And when I feel like someone else can do it better, when I feel like I'm not holding myself, and when I feel like I'm not achieving the standard that I expect for myself, if I feel like the last thing I want to be is like a hanger on, somebody who's not doing a whole lot, someone who's not very active, someone who's just letting the region languish. That's my worst fear. So if I feel like I'm getting there, I'm going to step down. I'm going to make sure that the person behind me is aptly prepared, and I'm going to pass the torch on.
That's so important, especially in GCRs. Trying to find someone that's ready and you're sure will be able to take your place and help the region grow more. It happens way too often when someone just tries to hang on for the prestige or whatever, and it always ends up having a negative impact.
Definitely ends up hurting the region. And that's something I want to avoid at maybe all costs, is to harm Osiris, the home that I love.
Where do you think foreign policy is going to be headed for Osiris now, or where do you plan on taking it? Because I mean, now you guys have the treaty of the anti-Pacific coalition. Do you think it's going to affect Osiris's future cultural and diplomatic activities?
Well, one can never truly know with these things, but I can definitely shed some insight on what we hope it will do. For foreign policy, I think the most important thing is to find people in regions who we can trust and who know they can trust us. I think definitely being mutually beneficial is going to be the utmost importance in finding our new friends. As far as the APC goes, with our current, shall we say, hostilities, lightly, there's an ideology that is the absolute antithesis of everything that we as Osiris stand for, and it's very dangerous to the community and the to the sovereignty of other regions, as we found out. So we definitely want to make sure that we have people who also feel the same way, and who would like to assist each other in protecting ourselves.
And it's from personal experience. I know it's difficult to even consider eventually moving on past that. Even it took years for me to even consider it, and then when I did, they went and did this. And now more people have another reason to keep them at arm's length at the very least.
So, if you don't mind me asking, what issues do you think Osiris currently faces? Is there anything that you think needs improvement, or is there beyond what you've already mentioned, or just
I think right now we're in an incredibly lucky situation. Instead of coming from a place of crisis where, oh my gosh, things are broken and the house is on fire and we're trying to put it out, we're coming from a place of, okay, we're doing good. Our community is strong. We're pretty secure. Now, how can we continue? How can we be better? How can we grow from here? And I think that's an incredibly liberating place to be in. So I don't know that I would say that we're necessarily struggling with anything or there's anything, that urgently needs to be fixed right now. We're coming from a strong place and we're just going to keep going up.
I think we're going to take this to the audience now to see if anybody has any questions for you. Shoot, people. We want to hear you. We need to hear you.
Definitely.
So to start off, I know Vampiriel, he asks, what major changes do you want to make with Osiris, and do you think that it's possible or feasible?
What's tripping me up a little bit is major changes. At the moment, I don't really have any major changes on the horizon. But, as I said, I'm really bad at speculating. So who knows?
A question from me personally, are you excited to be Pharaoh?
Yeah, yes, I am. Even though it wasn't something I was necessarily gunning for, now that it's here, I'm excited to see what happens, what kind of decisions I'm going to have to make. I was telling someone that I've remained blissfully scandal-free for the past 3 years, and I'm trying to see how long that's going to keep.
Well, I think a lot of great people do have a scandal or two along the way. It helps make them who they are.
True. You can definitely grow from adversity. That's definitely. And I also believe that you can tell a lot about a person, how they deal with adversity.
Pam here has a question for you. How has your delegacy been so far?
So far, it's been pretty peaceful. We have a event going on with our dearest friends, the West Pacific. It is a high school prom. It is amazing. Everybody did so much work to put in it. I know the community affairs team, we put together a playlist. It was amazing. So far, it's been pretty good.
And from Rochelle, they ask, is the blue world factbook entry a foreshadowing of turning Sekhmet blue?
Rage. Funny. Let me be on the record. No. No, Sekhmet isn't. Sekhmet is not in danger of turning blue.
Oh, question from Manson. Do you have any plans for a Rejected Realms Osiris relations beyond of the Lost and Found Accords? Oh, and then he also asks, what do you think of Lost and Found Accords? Do you plan with discussing with our delegate, Kyorgia?
So, I like the Lost and Found Accords. I think it's a step in better relations between us and the Rejected Realms. And I've hung out with you guys. You guys have an amazing werewolf game. And I think that's where I actually met a lot of y'all. Kyorgia was kind enough to help in the transition, which is something we definitely appreciate. So I can definitely see us in the future having discussions about where to take it from there. I can't really comment too much on what direction that might take, but I can definitely see it happening.
Well, that's good news for us, at least.
I think it's about time that we finally come to this point because of our alignments over the years. We've kind of been at odds with each other.
Yeah, and I think as long as we can make sure to go forward respecting each other and to definitely be willing to help each other out where we can, I think I feel like there's not a whole lot of reasons why we can't continue to being friends.
Now, I know a lot of people disagree with this, but I like it when everybody gets along. I know a conflict helps spur activity, but I don't like everybody fighting. I want everybody to be friends.
Me too.
I know it's naive,
Yeah.
but it's I think people in the long run will have more fun.
And I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with a little bit of naivete. I think I might suffer from a touch of naivete as well. Just a touch, mind you. But yeah, I definitely love for everybody to be friends. Unfortunately, that's not always possible. Alas.
And then another question from Manson. What do you think of Chirurgia? Because I didn't know this until right now, but apparently he's been a scribe and a candidate for Pharaoh and Osiris before under the Democratic Osiris Fraternal Order.
That was a little bit before my time. So I don't know that I know him well enough to have a informed decision. From what I know of him, he seems like a stand-up person.
I was actually on the fence about him, but he's doing a pretty good job. So I think Osiris and the Rejected Realms are going to end up doing pretty well. I think you're going to have an easy time spurring that along.
Yeah, I mean, going back to my my terrible record of speculation, well, who can really say? But you know, there's hope. I'm hoping. Fingers crossed.
And then third question from Manson. What are your opinions on the other sinkers, Lazarus and Balder?
I don't know that I have an opinion.
That's fair. Anything you hope to accomplish regarding feeder-sinker relations?
I don't want to limit myself in terms of FA and accomplishments. I don't want to limit myself in terms of, you know, feeder versus sinker or anything like that. What I hope to accomplish above all is to find people who we can mutually trust each other and mutually depend on each other.
Also, this just came to mind, but from your experience, do you find that most of the people in Osiris, did they come there of their own will, or were they just like refounding their nation? They were just like, I have nowhere else to go, and found out about the good community.
I hope they came of their own will, or else we'll have to rethink our. Well, maybe not. We won't have to rethink our mind control cookies. Shh, that's a secret.
It's out there now.
Secrets out. No, they are definitely not. Okay. I think it's a good mix of both. So we have an amazing, and I mean amazing, game side department who are definitely talking to people about, you know, our community, about the Discord, about getting involved in citizenship and such. And they do an amazing job of getting people in the door. And I think once they get into the door, that's where the community is like, okay, you're ours now.
I feel like Osiris has a good approach with UCRs. I don't want to say a focus on them, but they do more often, I think, than most GCRs include them in their foreign policies and cultural activities.
Definitely. You know, when we're looking for friends, we don't want to limit ourselves.
Manson asks how you think you'll deal with threats to Osiris. He mentioned Gatesville and the Empire being negatively impacting Osiris in the past.
So, with any kind of threats, I'm going to deal with them quite frankly as I need to. There's there's this saying that I live by. It's basically, you know, don't start none, won't be none. Or like the Aristocats, ladies don't start fights, they finish them.
I don't want to say that Osiris never will, but I do feel like it's far more unlikely than it's ever been for Osiris to face a threat like Gatesville and the Empire, because they were deeply rooted in toxic behavior, which Osiris doesn't or has a very fortunate shortage of these days.
Yes, and partially because we like to guard our community judiciously. We like to make sure that the people we are surrounding ourselves with are not toxic.
And then the question that's really been on all of our minds, what's your opinion on the South Pacific and Osiris's strained relationships, and are you planning on lifting the proscription?
No comment.
That's understandable. It's a very difficult thing to answer because it's kind of a loaded question, really.
Yes, and since I don't want to start any international incidences on day 2 of my delegacy, no comment.
Manson asks, who makes up your current cabinet?
For sure. So we have the amazing Rachel as our chief vizier. We have Ham as our gameside vizier. Ham does an amazing job with that. We have Mike as our foreign affairs. We have Lady Dominator as our WA affairs. Oh man, here's a whole list. I'm sorry, I'm blanking. Sarah as our community affairs. She was a sub-vizier under me for a while. And so when the time came, she was able to go ahead and be promoted.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but this is maintaining most of the cabinet that was under Linksy, correct?
Most of them, yes.
Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. Or as Cogsworth like to say, if it ain't baroque, don't fix it.
Are there any regions that we haven't mentioned yet that you want to get closer with?
That's definitely something that we're looking into with our Foreign Affairs Department.
I feel this is ending early, but I really do. It probably definitely is. But how would you like to be remembered as Pharaoh? What do you think your legacy is going to be if legacy is an accurate way to describe it?
You know, I feel like there's a lot of times people want to be the hero. You know, people want to be the greats. They want to be the people whose names are whispered about on gameplay forums. And that's never really been me. You know, I'm not a glory chaser. I'm not, I'm not for one people building statues or anything. Honestly, if I could be remembered as somebody who was kind, who did their best for Osiris, and who worked hard, I think that would be incredibly satisfying. I feel like it's kind of like being a captain of a ship. You know, everybody hears about the captain who went through great danger and, all of these things happened and they were able to swerve this way and quarter left to the right and were able to save everybody and everybody went home safely. You know, everybody hears about those stories. But there's also captains every day who take people from point A to point B, who maybe have quelled fires, put out small or big crises that the passengers never even know about. The only thing the passengers know is that they got from point A to point B and they're happy. And I think that's the kind of captain I want to be. The person who kept Osiris out of trouble. We'll try to anyway. Let's.
Not everybody tries to make their mark that everybody will remember, but the people who I think the people who make the greatest impact are the ones that they don't try to, but they inevitably end up doing that, whether they know it or not.
That's true. Sometimes there's situations beyond your control, and it's kind of like that saying. Some people, it's something that has to do with mantles and greatness. Like sometimes the mantle of greatness is thrust upon you, and you just have to kind of carry it. But yeah, I think that's very true.
I want to say thank you for joining us. Thank you for giving us this interview. We're happy to have had you. Good luck in your delegacy.
The best of luck.
As Pharaoh.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for having me. This was fun, and I really enjoy your guys' company. Most of the questions were good.